Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bull Rush. My name is Mr. Schmoogledorf. I am joined, as always, with Mr. Dwarfman on my right, Mr. Noirbot on my left. How we doing today, guys?
Pretty good. Unfortunately, did not get in any beta games this morning because, like an idiot, I woke up at 7 o'clock.
You scrub.
I know,
Absolute
I'm
scrub.
such a scrub.
Absolute
So I ended up playing Diablo for a couple hours. So that's fun.
I woke up kind of late too, so I haven't played today, but I've played yesterday, and I'm so happy.
Can I just say that the way they rebalanced the Firebird set in Season 5 of Diablo is just disgusting and no fun to play with.
Alright.
What show are you on?
Welcome to the
What
Diablo
show
cast.
is this? Oh,
You
God.
didn't know you're on Sanctuary Cast, my Diablo-themed podcast?
Yeah, right. Oh, man, but this is quite the set of news that we've got going on this weekend. Streaming is back. We've got Gigantic Beta 2.0, which means 24-hour play testing. We've got a new hero to talk about, Progression Systems, a store that I have absolutely no idea if it's working or is even intended to work.
It's not. Right now.
It's supposed to, but it's not.
It was
Parties
broken
are
last night,
back.
It's not on now.
And also a slew of issues regarding people actually getting access to the beta as well, as we've been seeing on the Reddit. So we're going to dive headfirst into that. The first one on our list is obviously the parties system, the thing we've been clamoring for ages. It's finally back, and it's integrating through the Xbox Live app rather than 100% through the actual game. So how,
Well, I mean,
how
okay,
exactly
no,
are we feeling about
no.
the system, though?
To be fair, the party system itself isn't necessarily through Xbox. Like, you can easily form a party entirely within Gigantic.
Yeah.
Having your friends list is pretty much managed through Xbox Live.
And you can only have a friends list to create a party, which is kind of
which
meh.
currently makes me, like, cry myself to sleep at night
Well,
because it's impossible to find anyone on Xbox Live.
Yeah, well, that's really just because right now everyone has new gamer tags than what we're used to. Like like To Wolfman's has to be To Wolfers instead of To Wolfman.
Oh, that's why I
in-game.
couldn't find you.
It's to Wolfers.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
someone evidently has Noirbot. I don't really. It's
Well,
literally the only time I'm not.
here's
been
the
able
funny
to get my
thing.
name.
Our good friend Mr. Rageface91 spells his name incorrectly on purpose for this problem. FAEC91 is
Yeah.
how he spells his name. Somebody has that.
Oh no.
So, but here's the crazy part. Nobody has the correct spelling. So now he is the correctly spelled
I didn't even
Rageface91.
notice.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice when I added it.
That's great. I mean, obviously, I have my name because, you know, who has my name?
That name?
I know it. But back to the actual.
But back to the actual
topic.
thing.
I mean,
Not being
I
able
have
to,
not actually-
you know,
I
not
have done
being.
a party.
Yeah, I have. Luckily enough, I have done a good amount of partying.
You actually have friends.
Well, yes, I have friends. We did, I remember, I think it was last night or whatever, we did a party with me, Rezo, Bixel, Scoogy, and one other person.
So you just stomped.
Jaden, that's who it was, Jaden. We did, we stomped pretty hard against the other coaches. It was a lot of fun. But, you know, we did parties through that system, and what we seem to find is that, you know, inviting people through the friends list in-game, while it works, is not actually the best way to form up teams. The best way to form up a team is to join through the Xbox app. You know, you'll find one of your friends is a leader of a party on your friends list, and you'll go to their account in the Xbox app and just click that Join Gigantic, and it'll join you to their team. You don't have to worry about an invite or any of that sort of stuff. It's
Wait,
just
do they
there.
have to accept, or can you just
Nope.
like randomly
No,
jump?
you just
You can just
join in.
accept.
Onward?
Yeah, just join in.
Goes
Like,
right
surprise! I'm at your party.
Yep, straight up.
That's
you know.
that won't get abused.
Oh, you know it's gonna get abused.
Do you
Absolutely.
actually you have to be friends with them?
Yes, you have to be friends with them.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
And-
not like I could just like go find like
Random
you know,
person number
PewDiePie
5.
and jump into his game.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing as well, is that you can't have parties with people that are not on your friends list. You have to have them on your
That's-
friends list to be in the party with them right now. Which, I mean, again, this is a very early system. It's a stopgap system. You know,
Well,
it's
no,
what we.
no. It's because the thing is, this is the Xbox party system,
Yes.
right? Like, it's not like they're going to drastically change this inside Gigantic. Like, it's always going to be tied to the Xbox system. So things
Yes.
like Xbox letting you join people's parties like that is, and like the fact
Well,
that
it's
people
always
have to
kind
be
of
on
been
your
that
friends
way.
list are going to be just part of Xbox. Like, that's not something that's going to change for Gigantic. Likely,
I
mean, like,
think
it might,
it
but
will.
maybe not.
Just because of you know, how the systems for other games of this style and genre have evolved over time, being able to just invite random people, and how the communities have evolved around it, being saying, hey, look, we've got 4 people that I know of, like, for example, Spazzy, you know, sometimes he only has 4 people that he's playing with League of Legends, and he'll invite one random person from his chat to play with them, you know?
Yeah.
But you're talking about, like, you're talking about, yeah, like, technically we should have a similar system to, like, Dota or League of Legends where it's just, like, ad hoc parties all the time.
Yeah.
And, like, if this was fully in Motiga's power, I think that's what they would implement. And that's about what we had before.
I think it's entirely possible. I think it's entirely possible that they will, though.
But every time we're talking about a system that involves Microsoft, it's like turning the Titanic around. Like, Microsoft... Like, Motiga is not, like, the shining gemstone of Microsoft's game systems, right? Like, I want to believe that they're going to do some things for Motiga, and, like, that there's going to be some leniency that Microsoft will do to, like, alter systems and help out. But, like, I don't think they're going to completely rewrite the Xbox party systems for one game.
I don't think they need to rewrite the Xbox party systems. Realistically, of course, I don't really have too much coding experience or any knowledge of the Xbox app systems, but how difficult would it be for them just to say, send a thing through the search function, search all of these gamer tags, and invite this person to your party without inviting them as a friend? How difficult would that be?
I don't know, but we also found out earlier this week that the way Microsoft does game patches is by re-downloading the entire game over the other version of the game, and that's just how Windows Store works on Windows 10. And you would think it would be really easy for them just to be like, what files actually need to get changed? And let's just download those
files,
yeah. But no, we're going to be downloading, like, every time there's a major gigantic patch, we're talking about, 3.5 gigabytes that we have to re-download.
But see,
yeah.
is that going to be the case?
This is Microsoft. This is Microsoft here. We're talking about Windows, where it took them forever to figure out how to do virtual desktops that have been a part of Linux for, like, 15 years.
But here's the thing, though. They're trying to rebrand themselves to be, utilizing more of a gaming audience. They're trying to gain more of a gaming audience, and they're trying to focus the store app to facilitate that through things that aren't just gigantic. You're talking about Fable Origins, stuff like that. That is going to be done through the store app as well. So they're going to be looking into these things, saying, "Hey, look, maybe we need to rebuild these systems to entice more of a gaming audience to come to our systems." Much of the same way that EA has had to do that with Origin, or really not really had to do that. They just chose to do that, but. Stuff like that, where they're going to have to change some of their systems to entice people to come on over. I think they're going to be more susceptible to making the changes that are necessary for some of their, basically products. Tell her
I'll stop running over Wolfie.
Wolfie over here.
I mean, It is kind of how the Xbox party system has been ever since the invention of the device in the first place. But I mean, at the same time, if you actually look in the Xbox app on Windows 10, like, it says party system and then beta right next to it. So it's not really it's kind of like they brought it over from the Xbox and just said, okay, it's going to be the same thing for the computer. But we know that that's probably not going to end up being the same thing if everything goes the way that we plan to.
I mean, we have Balto in here. He may be telling us, he might be able to tell us, hey, no, this isn't the final product.
We got to remember that
Balto,
Microsoft isn't publishing this game. Microsoft's not in full control here. It's a partnership.
But that makes it even less, though, right? Because that means that Microsoft doesn't have,
they don't have as much of a stake in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have an obligation to change it. They don't have any reason to necessarily change it other than we are helping out our partner here. And while they may have that sense of saying, you know what, this is our partner, we should try and help them and facilitate them because that only helps us in the long term, they have it within their right to say, you know what, no, we don't need to do that. Why would we want to redo our entire system just for one game? And I understand and respect that.
I think it's also a matter of, we're talking about Microsoft and, I want to believe that they're going to improve things, but we're talking about any of these systems are going to be the same as they are on Xbox. Crossplay is the big central feature here, and so they're not going to have a feature on PC that they don't have on Xbox, and pushing changes to Xbox when Xbox has been doing it this way for 18 years probably much less likely to happen because of that unified structure. So, I mean, and all of this is kind of a horrific tangent. The point being, party systems are back, they work.
They work.
You know,
I
they've
mean,
got
there are
some
things that
polish
can be
I
better.
love.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some more polish on them, but like, I think the theme of like everything we're going to talk about today is
It's going to be along those same
thing is
lines.
back, but like, dear God, is it not polished?
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's a beta. What you know, you don't expect
And
it
I
to
mean-
It's
be
here.
polished.
It sucks. It's
And-
here. It sucks.
Pretty much. And I mean, other things that are coming on as problems as well with, you know, the usage of the Xbox app is a lot of people, as we've seen on the subreddit, are having problems being able to actually, you know, link their Microsoft accounts over properly. There are some weird hoops I've had to help both my brother and our friend Matt have to jump through different types of hoops just to get their stuff working properly. Like
Yeah, that
with
was
Rageface,
a
his
show.
yeah, with Rageface, his problem was the Xbox site wouldn't create an Xbox account associated with his Microsoft account. It just kept on running into an error. But when we go to the Xbox support site and it brought him to the same screen, it created the account for him. We just went to the same location through a different door and it worked. So, you know, stuff like that. Obviously, there's some problems with the systems there, and it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a barrier to entry to some people. I know it's going to be annoying to a lot of people, but
Oh yeah, there were a lot of people in Vox last night just being like,
how do I do
What
this?
do
Why
I
can't I do
do?
this? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it took me 6 hours to get the game downloaded. Like, literally, because for some reason, because my problem is, and I mean, I realize I am a weird case, but like, I have 3 Microsoft
You're
accounts.
not weird.
I have 3 Microsoft accounts, and my computer. Well, it's because Windows automatically made one when I upgraded to Windows 10
Okay.
from my old user account. So it was
Right.
like, your Windows 7, you had an account named this, and this was the password associated with it, so we're just going to make you a new Windows 10 account. So my login on Windows 10 was that. I also had one from when I was in school that had access to like free Microsoft software, and then I had another account that was my actual like MSN Xbox account. And like, for some reason, it like threw a fit about the fact that my computer was logged in on a different account than the one I wanted to use to install the game. And like, it was doing things like I would like try to install it and it'd be like, sorry, you're not signed in. I'm like, it clearly says right there that I'm signed in. Like, I can click the thing that says it's like, hello, Perry, you're not signed in.
What?
It's just like, yeah, this is about what I expect.
Steven, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Oh dear. But yeah, the system obviously needs some
amazing.
work as well, but that's, I guess, some of the growing pains we're going to have to look into. I haven't seen it necessarily stifle the community in any way. In fact, actually, I've seen many more people. One of my favorite things was the other night I went onto the forums, and I'm used to, you know, on the left side it says how many people are online, and I'm used to seeing maybe 3 or 4 people online. There were 107.
yeah, like over 100 easily.
I
the
was
entire
like,
time.
oh, hi guys,
It was
how's it
pretty
going?
cool.
Yeah.
And then, like, of course, you know, the last time we had a party system, like, some kind of error occurred, and then everyone had to reset, like, every now and again.
Yeah.
It still sometimes happens, but, you know, we just implemented this system. We
Yeah.
got in this.
It's a growing
It's not
system.
just a new system, like, it's an entirely new system in an entirely different way through an
Yeah.
entirely different app. So, I mean, there's bound to be problems. We just kind of have to roll with it.
Yeah, it's things that are just going to take some time, and I'm fine with waiting for, you know, some of these problems to be resolved because, you know, everyone's clamoring about it. Everyone's putting in bug reports, talking to support, so you know Motiga's getting plenty of information to help with that. I would say, however, a little public service announcement. If you do incur any issues, please do obviously contact support rather than trying to figure them out on your own. Because while you may be perfectly capable of doing that, the more issues get to Motiga, the more often they're going to be fixed. Moving
Well,
right.
and a lot of these are, and in addition to that, we're in a situation where there's going to be some highly specific bugs. Like, I'm having graphical glitches that are only me, as far as I can tell. And, like, it's something specific about my specific driver, my specific graphics card.
Yeah. Well,
But, like,
and are
go
you running on
report that.
Radon graphics?
Yeah.
That would be why.
But, like, as far as I know, I'm the only person that's had this specific type of
Yeah.
graphics tearing. And, like, odds are I'm going to be the only person that ever has that, and it's probably also somewhat related to the reason Guild Wars only runs at 20 FPS on my computer. But
Way.
you never know.
Well, and I also remember hearing from some of our EU players who run on the, I think it's the Ruby drivers for Radon graphics, that they get game crashes, or they had game crashes previously. So, you know, stuff like that,
Yeah.
where it depends on the drivers or the graphics card and whatnot. That's stuff that's going to happen, you know, over
Oh,
time.
yeah.
But let's move right along and into the actual meat of what's been going on, and that is the actual changes to the game. The first one on they finally released the patch notes. That was this morning. They released the patch notes. The first one on their big list is changes to movement and stamina, which I personally have noticed a big change to how things work.
God, it's
such
amazing.
as the base movement speed has been increased 7.25%.
So nice.
That is one of the greatest things. I remember back in the tournaments versus how it's playing now. Everything feels a lot more smooth and solid. They shouldn't, and that's just in the walking speed. You know, walking on its own feels like you're actually going somewhere versus before where if you weren't sprinting, it felt like you were going through molasses. And that's the thing is we were punishing people for not having stamina bars, basically, for not having any more stamina. We were punishing them for not having any.
Which I mean, is
happens.
okay.
You know, it's okay for doing that, but it's so heavy of a punishment that it's like you don't even need to add slows in the game because not having stamina is a slow. But now it feels so much better to not have to worry about that as much. Walking away from a fight, even though it still feels like I'll just walk away now. You know, even though it still feels a little silly, it still is a viable option if you don't have any stamina.
Yeah.
And also, the amount of stamina while sprinting while out of combat has been reduced to 40%, or reduced by 40%. That's great. Personally, I like that because it's not punishing you from traveling place to place. It doesn't punish you for getting from point A to point B anymore.
Yeah, I mean, because it allows certain characters to do the jobs that they're intended to do, like
ranged heroes, even
or ranged heroes. Just like getting from place to place, getting on higher ledges, getting
and not even just that,
points.
but having ranged heroes being able to get from place to place and then do their job once they're there, because most ranged heroes' attacks and spells cost stamina. So it's like, hey, look, before I'm going to sprint from this place to this place because I just got off the airship, and now I don't have any stamina to do my job. And there are so many heroes that have that. Like you said, Assassins, had that same problem. A lot of melee heroes, in fact, and pretty much everybody had that problem where getting off the airship pretty much punished you.
Yeah, and I can understand. I can understand.
Respawning punishes you, man. Gee.
It's like I've heard the counter argument from, especially from more experienced players, is like that's the depth, right? It's like the depth of the game is somewhat you have to manage your stamina. You can't just charge around, sprinting everywhere, because you'll get to the fight, but you won't have your stamina up for abilities or dodging,
and that was cool managing that back in the day.
It's like saying, I keep running out of mana because I cast all my spells. This is dumb, and you're punishing me for using my spells. It's like, no.
Hashtag just dongate it.
Managing things does make sense. Managing your cooldowns, managing your whatever, and but yeah, I think this is the marginal, this might actually be the least drastic change in the patch that is, the best increase to quality of life.
Oh, yeah. Like Valentine is saying, managing stamina was a chore previously. Now it doesn't seem like it too much. And at first,
and you still need to do it because it's still important.
Oh, yeah, especially in combat, and that's where you see it, is in combat. It's so much more important. And I'm 100% behind focusing, a depthful mechanic to a place where it actually matters. I don't want to have to, think micromanage while I'm not doing anything. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to micromanage my stamina usage when I'm out of combat. I want to micromanage my stamina usage while I'm in combat. I want to have to think more when more things are happening. And that's exactly what happened, and I love that. Another big thing was being interrupted no longer stops your movement. Or prevents you from jumping, which it's a double nerf. Yeah, well, not even just the trip nerf, but also the Mozu nerf as well. With the right mouse button interrupt, I was able to save my bacon more often than not with just hitting right mouse button. Now I have to think of different ways. So it's it's a double-bladed sword, though, when you think about it.
Mozu feels like that one's more of a that specific brand.
Yeah.
Gotta hit. Whereas Trip, it's pretty much her ability to combo is now gone. Because she can't.
Yeah.
I mean, or at least she used to pretty much be if you can get that initial hit in on somebody and have all your abilities up, you can, at least 75% them.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's if they have any movement abilities whatsoever, they can still get away from you. Like, Trip just doesn't have the stickiness that she used to have.
It just requires you to think a little bit more before you go ahead and engage, which just stops her. Well, yeah, when you think about it, because you have to wait for them to use their movement abilities first.
Well, but I mean, there's so many people where it's like, okay, so you're talking about like Margrave has like 2 movement abilities.
Yeah.
And a CC. It's like you're not going to be able to.
Beckett
like,
with the leap, Wu with the jump, and you know.
There's so many movement abilities. It's like, and you're not going to remember everyone's cooldown because you can't see, them half the time. Half the time, it's like, ooh, I run around a corner invisible and I found somebody. I don't know what cooldowns they have. Like,
exactly.
Before it was like you could just, if you were a good player, you could just be like bam, 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 bam.
To be fair, though, this is a huge help for people who didn't like the fact that, oh, now I'm interrupted, completely stops me from getting out of this situation that I would have gotten out of otherwise. It's like, yes, it should stop me from attacking. It should stop me from using spells. It should stop me from this, that, or the third, but it shouldn't stop me from moving. In that sense, to some people. Honestly, I don't agree with it. I think interrupting should interrupt everything.
Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews of this in specific nerf. Because it's like, interrupting, it's kind of like a mini stun. You're not actually stunned, but you're stopped doing what you're trying to do for that specific moment.
Yeah.
It makes sense that does that. But at the same time, it's like some people were really pissed off that they had like this huge escape mechanic and then like
didn't have it anymore.
Yeah, they're just like it was suddenly gone. But at the same time, you could say like that's just a better outplay potential from the person that applied the interrupt.
I guess.
I think the thing is it makes before interrupts were essentially mini stuns. I think the problem now is like there's so few people where interrupting them actually does an effect anymore. Right? Because, like, very few people have channeled abilities. Like, you've got, like, HK, yeah, okay, you can interrupt his thing, but, like, that doesn't really matter. Like, Mozu, sure, yeah, like, Mozu ramping up her shots actually matters if you interrupt her.
Yeah.
Taito's spin. But, like, interrupting
Charnock right
now does
button.
Nothing. Well, Charnock's right mouse button is short enough anyway.
But that's not entirely true either, because if you interrupt in time with the dash, you can't kick because the entire animation cancels. She'll still slide forward, but she can't kick.
But that's that's hard to do. Like those become like I'm talking about. Like there aren't a lot of people with like long channel abilities.
Oh man, sorry. I have to interject this really quick. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting Trip.
Interrupting Trip.
Q! Anyway,
see, obviously it's working because we all stopped talking.
Exactly. But yeah, I kind of agree with what they're saying though, is that the interrupt, while feeling weaker, can open up different possibilities of play. But overall, I think the change, personally, was a little bit unnecessary. I think that's my personal opinion, is that it was unnecessary. Why would you change the interrupt? Maybe it felt a little bit weird if you were on the receiving end of it, but it definitely felt worthwhile to grab if you were using interrupts. Nowadays, if you have an upgrade path that utilizes interrupts, it's almost not worth it to take it because the changes to them it doesn't facilitate the usage of it. It's more worth to go for another branch in that sense. But we're going to kind of move a little bit on because there's just so much to cover in so limited time. Stamina changes, there's been so much to different ways that stamina is drained while jumping, number adjustments made to landing when out of stamina. But
I like hard landing.
Yeah, hard landing is great, personally. I think the one problem with it, and we kind of saw this within the competitive people because we like to break the game, using any spell pretty much or dodging or anything while you're about to hard land negates the landing.
Yeah,
well, but I mean that's a bug, right? Like
we would like to think it's a bug.
I like hard landing in theory. Like I like because it's an indirect nerf to and this has been my complaint for a very long time about the game is there's been this like hidden defense stat on a lot of people that is their mobility.
Right. Yeah.
So like Voden is on paper a very, very squishy character who should be essentially an assassin that dies a lot. But he's so goddamn hard to hit with anything because he can bounce all over the place that, like, functionally he's, like, it's so much harder to hit him with abilities that, like, he essentially has, like, 50% damage reduction because you probably miss about half of your shots on him if you're not, like, a high-skill player.
Yeah. And that's the thing. There are a lot of heroes that have that thing going with them. Wu is another good example. He's very mobile because of a lot of his spells and a lot of his abilities. And yeah, he's an assassin, so you know he kind of goes along with that. But there are other heroes like that too. Charnok has that same sense as well. Especially if you go with the QQ upgrade, where you could jump once and then jump farther away.
But like, I'm okay with it on Charnok because you have to commit to that upgrade. Like, you have to, like, to really have, like, hypermobility on Charnok, you have to do a lot of things. Whereas, like, people like Vodin and Trip and Wu, it was just like, we're just going to bounce all over the place, have fun trying to even keep track of where we are.
Yeah. And so, creating the hard landings definitely, I feel like, has addressed that. Definitely. Yeah. Has definitely addressed that. And I agree with you saying that I like them on paper. I think, yeah, the ability to negate them is a bug and shouldn't be a feature. But I think at the moment helps create that kind of difference between a masterful player and a kind of just good player. Being able to use your management of when you want to hard land, and which is never, and not hard landing properly. But realistically, I'll agree with you. It's a bug. It's supposed to be a bug, and it should stay a bug. And it should be dumped into the bug bin with everything else.
Yeah.
Everything belongs in the bug bin.
Everything. The whole game, it's a bug. Just throw it out. Start again.
We can put bucket in the bucket.
Put the bucket in the bucket. Moving right along, the next thing on the list, though, and this is the big change. We were kind of hinted about this a while back with the State of Gigantic posts. The change to the power system. They were saying we wanted to get rid of the passive power system, and they finally did it. Power gain no longer is passive. Instead, you have power orbs that will, like we had before, after the match is over, but instead they spawn during the match, 2 at a time, 1 on both sides of the map, and once they spawn they have to be captured, and that's how you generate your power. You could stop them from being grabbed by popping up at the enemy's creature and getting it off that thing. You could even steal it if you so wished, which causes a very, very much different style of play. You know, team-oriented play, competitively speaking, the game is massively different because of the change to the passive systems. No longer are we worrying about making sure we summon our creatures first, or making sure that we have a creature on every point, or making the thought of maybe we should summon on their point because that'll give us more power for like 5 seconds, or we need to kill this point because it's going to stop them from generating power. Now it's, let's kill this point because we get power for killing that point. Let's attack this point because they're summoning an orb there. Let's send this person to their back point to stop it for 5 seconds so that way our orb summons first.
Yep. There's a lot of things you can actually do with this game.
Which inherently changes the way backcapping works as well.
Yeah, that's also true.
But I love this system so much.
Really?
I do too, yeah. I mean, I think it's great. I feel like there are things that can still be worked on and tweaked, but like, it still puts it makes it so that creatures are still viable, but it's not like you have to sit back and just wait.
Yeah. Because what I feel like it does rather is it makes the creature abilities, what creatures do, so much more important. So I'm saying we need to have a bloomer here because we need to have somewhere we can run back and heal to. We need to have a Cyclops here so we have a wall so that way they can't walk through this way. We need to have a Cerberus here because there's no other reason we want anything else here, so let's put a Cerberus so we can see them walking past there. You know, or let's have a Drake here because it's a easily defensible point with a Drake or something like that. It forces you to think about what creature you're putting where based on the merits of the creature, rather than let's just plop a creature down because we need something there.
Yeah, and it puts more emphasis on defending your creatures because there's a line. There's 2 lines here on this specific part of the notes that says power gain from player kills has been adjusted to 1 power per player, and then for each creature you have spawned, you gain the +2 additional power for player kills and creature kills. So it's like if you control crazy. 4 points, that's +8 power. And then that's 9
Well, and it's adjusted to 1 per player level, even. So say you kill a level 5 hero, that's 5 power, that's plus an additional 2 power per player kill, creature kill, in every Clash Orb you collect. So the more creatures that are out, the more players that you kill, the more orbs you collect, the more important your kills are going to be, which in turn, because if I'm reading this right, correct me if I'm reading this wrong, in turn, I think makes the whole, player kills are worth 10 more power and once you go into Clash is gone now, and this is how it ramps up over the game.
Yeah, I think really
Maybe.
the biggest thing that it does is it forces action.
Yes.
Or at least forces you to consider doing something. Like, you might be
not like you had
"No,
a
we
reason
can't
to think
contest
about that before."
point." Like, what? What did you say?
It's not like we didn't have a reason to think about that before. Like, not
Well,
like
sure,
we didn't have a
but,
reason
like-
to do action before.
Yeah, it was in a different way though.
Fair
Yeah, I
enough.
think now it's like there's a timing, right? Like, especially on something like Mistforge, or Sanctum
Canyon.
Falls. Well, but on Sanctum Falls, you're in a situation where with those middle points, it's like, well, do we contest the bridge or do we contest the falls? Okay, well, which one of them is summoning right now? Like, which one
Yeah.
of them is summoning an orb now? We need to go take that out and steal that orb.
Yeah, or more accurately, because if I recall correctly, River and Clash, I'm just going to call it Clash, River and Clash both summon their orbs at the same time. They're like the same ones. It's like Forest and Forest, River and Clash, Bell and Bell, or whatever.
Yeah.
But what it can do is, say Forest is the next one that's going to be upgrading, or summoning. That means you want to have Clash. Why?
Yeah.
Because now you're in a good position to go ahead and attack it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
and
push
then-
down into it.
And then it was something that Shu kind of hinted at earlier. It's like if there's an equal distribution of power and the enemy controls River and you control Altar, like, yeah, you can just defend Altar, but you can also send someone to stall the River capture for a minute. Because how it works is,
Yeah.
what we didn't actually say, is that someone, whether it's a friendly creature or one of your allies, needs to stand on the summon point when an orb is summoned there, and after a specific amount of time, the orb will be captured, and you can stall it by moving the creature off of it, and you can even steal it if you manage to stay on the point long enough and not get killed or pushed off by
Which
something.
I
Amazing.
actually saw. Well, there's that, but I actually saw somebody do this in Clash during one of my games yesterday. It was our trip on our team ran back to the enemy's summoning orb during Clash. We wouldn't have gotten this push if he didn't do this. Everyone on our team was dead, but he sat on top of the enemy's Storm Drake to steal the orb so we would get push. He died doing it, but we got push. So, it's stuff like that that causes this new way of thinking. Like, okay, what do I do? Do we want to backcap now? Is it worth it? If dying here gets us something, is that worth it? Yes. If that's the case, then go ahead and do it. And it changes the way you have to think about backcapping, because before it was a backcap is killing the creature. Now a backcap is a much more tactful thing to do. Is saying, I'm going to sit in here for 5 seconds. I'm going to take massive damage doing it, which validates all of the upgrades and defensive upgrades and offensive upgrades they've done to all these creatures, but it's going to have a different and much more, in my opinion, lasting effect than before.
And then it kind of emphasizes heroes that have ability to either burst someone really quickly or push them off so that they can stop stealing it.
Yeah.
But even then, like, it really
the
depends on
damage is done at that
person.
point, and that may be
Yeah.
a little bit of an issue with how that works. But think about it this way: both teams may be at near full power for their push. They're both vying for that extra thing. The enemy team puts one person near your point for 2 seconds. You've lost that push,
Yeah, because the creature
Yeah.
gets off of the orb.
and it takes
Yeah.
the full reset of the timer for you to capture it again. So maybe it's a little bit too powerful of a mechanic to backcap right now.
And
And
we're
there
going
might
to
be-
adjust it.
Oh, yeah. Well, because I was thinking maybe instead of making it so that, now he's off the platform, now you have to reset your timer for capturing it, maybe it's a flat timer. Say, if anybody on your team has been sitting on it, it starts charging it. If your creature pops off the thing, that timer still stays in the same place instead of reverting to 0. It stays in the same place, so when you get back on again, it picks up in the same spot and goes all the way around and through.
I
That
was
could be a way of
thinking
changing that.
I was thinking that it would be that, if more allies are on the point, then it
Then you
gathers
capture it faster. That's a good
Like not like
note
not
as well.
like super faster, but like just
At least in the same
slightly
way that it
fast
goes
enough.
with summoning creatures faster.
Yeah.
The more heroes are on the point, you summon the creature faster. The more heroes are on the point, you should summon the orb faster. That should
or capture the orb faster.
capture the orb faster. That should be something that goes in there. I think that would go hand in hand. You would almost think.
Except for maybe Clash, because
Yeah.
there's a specific line here that says Clash Power Orbs can only be claimed by one player at a time.
Yeah, and
And then
that's
I also like how it says the first player to begin claiming the orb will continue to do so until they either leave or
leave
or
the
are
area
killed.
even, and not even just the summoning point like it was way back in the old alpha days with summoning creatures. If you jumped, you were off the summoning pad. No, it's if you walk outside of the capture point, now you are stopping the capture of it. So yeah, that's interesting, and maybe we put that in for Clash and say make it the entire area, how many of your personal heroes versus their heroes are. Do something kind of like that, where it's like, if there are 4 of your heroes and 2 of the enemy heroes there, you still are capturing it, but it's slower because there are 2 enemy heroes there. Or if you have 3 of your heroes and 0 enemy heroes, it's faster. So, you know.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know. I think this system is a good move. I think, like, one of the things we keep talking about, or at least I keep bringing up, is that I want to see us move to, you know, add more objectives and add more depth to the gameplay, but that, like, I'm worried that we can't see that much change just, like, by tacking things onto existing systems.
Yeah.
Because, like, at this point, we can't, like, totally trash the creature system to rework something. But I
Yeah.
think this is probably the best and biggest change that I could see them adding that adds a lot of dynamic play to the game. I don't know if it gets us all the way to where we want to be.
No,
but I think
personally, I
adds
don't
a
think it
lot.
does. Simply because these are still, you know, team-oriented objectives. You know, this is still us attacking the enemy team rather than both teams working for a third-party objective to gain a thing. That could be, and while that's not necessarily necessary for a game to have a third-party objective, it's still something that people have been kind of clamoring for as something that draws the attention away from team beating this team and only having rotations and strategies oriented towards attacking the enemy team's objectives,
Yeah.
and having something that can give you a boon for attacking enemy objectives.
I mean, we can discuss this at a later time, but
Oh, yeah.
I've had many late night discussions with competitive players saying how they wish there were more depth to the game of like more things like neutral points or something that
neutral
are like just
points or just buffs.
tertiary objectives. It's like
Yeah.
just what people want to put in. But
Exactly.
I mean,
And
we can talk about that much later.
yeah, definitely much later. There's still so much to talk about, such as account progression being put into the game right now in a very early set, and we're going to try and grab Mr. Nanoman on in the future cast to talk a little bit more in depth about it. But for right now, all we're really seeing is that we have account levels now, and that all of your account progress has been reset, that you gain fortune cards are
Yep.
these little challenges you unlock
They're dailies.
day to day.
They're daily-
They're
they're daily
dailies.
quests.
But
I
here's the
like
thing,
them.
is they're
I
not
like them
just
a
daily.
lot.
Because I did get a fortune card that says complete 3 fortune cards. So it's not just a daily thing, it could
Yeah,
be a long-standing thing.
I
Say
think
you
you're
gain...
able to, I think you're able to hold up to 7. So, and then there's like specific, like just overall general cards, like a
Yep.
certain amount of kills or a certain amount
some
of
amount of
assists.
healing.
Or yeah, or then like there's there's hero specific cards that say like
Get this many kills on this hero, or
yeah,
heal
yeah,
this much on
something
this
like that.
hero in one game, you know?
yeah, exactly.
And that is really interesting. It's daily quests. We're finally getting daily rewards, but the big deal, like you said, Norbot, you know, is not the dailies. It's definitely the actual progression in the store, which we don't see too much of. We can't right now
Honestly,
do
I
much
think
with
the
the store.
store is dead. Like, I mean, not like that it like forever, but like they
Broken.
Dead
well,
store is dead.
it was broken when beta released.
Yeah, it broke when we
it wasn't
started.
like you could try to purchase things, but it wouldn't go through, and then
Yep.
they took it down for a maintenance period. And I think, from what I can tell now, they fixed it by making the store not have buy buttons anymore and just giving everyone everything.
Yeah, I think they just
Which
unlocked
is
everything.
a nice solution.
Well, and to be honest,
now.
since this is the first day or the first week, I guess, back from the no playtesting for a while, why would you want to limit what people can play? Especially considering, if I remember correctly, they had this free week rotation deal going through where you
Yep.
could only play 6 of the 16 heroes, and none of them
Yep.
included Beckett, which is the new hero. Why wouldn't you want people to play the new hero?
You could play her in the tutorial if you just wanted to.
Yeah, if
mess
you just
around
wanted to
for
mess
some.
around with her. But that's the
Yeah.
thing, is like you couldn't
Which
play
was
her.
nice.
Yeah, it was nice, but you couldn't play her if you hadn't unlocked her. And from what I heard and have actually done, there was a bug resulting in that. It was interesting because you could basically fudge the system and say, hey, look, I can use any of the heroes, even though I haven't unlocked them yet. It was a really silly thing, but basically, you know how before the match you could click on, you know, whatever hero you wanted to choose, but if somebody else had already chose that, say you wanted to play Sven and somebody else had played Sven, it said, hold on, somebody else has that. Between the time that it took for you to click that hero and for that message to pop up, you could hit the change hero button. And when you did, you could choose all of the heroes.
Yep.
Well, and I mean, that's the kind of bugs you expect. Like, really, there's almost no system that we've talked about that doesn't have weird bugs right now.
Which is what they said was going to happen. Let's be honest. They said this was going to happen.
They said it multiple times.
There are going to be some unsavory builds. There are going to be some builds that are broken. There are going to be a lot more bugs. Get used to it. It is a beta. And they're embracing that, which I love. They actually came out and said it in one of their posts. We understand that our practice before of wanting to give you and treat you like a quote-unquote live environment, which meant that we wanted to give you a nearly bugless experience, caused for a much longer delay in playtest updates, which wasn't 100% what we wanted. And I am fine with them embracing betas just so long as we can play the game more often, and that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, one thing I do want to mention, and I don't want to. I want to take credit for this, but I feel like I can't. But they essentially did what I was saying they should do, back a little bit ago, which is make this just go for the early access model. The cat's out of the bag. You've lifted the NDA once. Everyone saw the game in a crappy state that didn't look good. Just start releasing the game in crappy states that don't look good and get everyone used to it, so that every time something gets better, we can be like,
that was broke before.
More. But now that bug is fixed, and now that system plays better.
They're doing things. That feels awesome. I agree with that.
I think it's totally the right move to make right now. I'm honestly, though, I think the weird part about it is, and this is getting off onto kind of another topic that we haven't got to, which is streaming. I'm shocked that they went straight to streaming already.
Me too, being totally honest.
I don't even think... honestly, I feel like a lot of this came together at the last minute, because you look at some of the responses from Evan and other people on the forums.
It kind of did.
It kind of did.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, all of us were capable of being in that conversation. You know, all three of us. It was the coaches were told, yeah, no, you could stream. Boom.
Yeah, but I mean, in the sense of last week, Evan was saying, yeah, streaming's not going to be back until close to open beta, and this week it's surprise, everyone's streaming.
Boom.
Yeah,
which is my keyboard. Don't mind me.
It's weird, and I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes. I feel like they, we're obviously not gonna have enough time today to go over all of the stuff that they added, and honestly, a lot of these systems are still kind of in the. It's a bit of a tire fire right now.
Oh yeah.
But I think at some point you just accept that if this is your reintroduction to the world of your game, you accept that it's going to be buggy. And that's why, despite some people's annoyance about this, that's why coaches are streaming this week, is they can set the expectation for, yeah, shit's broken.
Yes.
Get used to it.
What we're also seeing, and I'm not sure if too many people kind of picked up on this, but it's all of the coaches in general, not necessarily previously it was just the approved broadcasters. Now it's all of the coaches, which didn't include all of the approved broadcasters before. So... whether that's a good thing or bad thing, whatever, I just like that there's more people streaming the game. Right now, if we look at our gigantic
I just like that there's more people playing
game itself, it's 93 people are watching streams right now, though to be fair, 52 of them are all on one person. So what I'm thinking is going to happen Shark, oddly enough, Shark Juggler.
Oh, Zappo had 30, 40 earlier today.
And, well, he's not streaming right now, so there's that. But right now, I think is going to happen is people are going to migrate towards maybe the one or two people at the top for right now. And then as those people go offline, they're going to hand it off to the next person, and that's how it's going to be. And that works for pretty much every game. But that's also mainly because we have a small streaming community. We have a small stream viewing community right now because... we haven't brought the game to too many people,
Well, it'll ramp up.
Exactly, and once the game goes to more people, and once more people can play the game, that's when we're going to see more people getting into, or very much stream the game. More people can stream the game. That's when we're going to see more people watching it. So I don't know. I mean, we kind of got some hints from Troy saying that, streaming is going to be ramped up in the following weeks to come. So as that
I think I have
happens,
officially seen that next week it will be to all approved broadcasters.
okay, cool.
So the entire group that we had before will be back.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw that up on the forums somewhere.
And
I
then,
think it was Evan said that.
Potentially, I wouldn't be surprised if we see in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it goes open to everyone.
Yeah, I personally I think that's what's going to happen is they're going to do full NDA drop in just a couple of weeks, simply because that's within their best interest to do.
I don't know if it'll be full NDA drop. I think we are going to see just anyone can stream it.
But here's the thing: why wouldn't they do full NDA drop at this point? They're saying that
I don't understand why they didn't do full NDA drop back when everything turned into a tire fire back at PAX.
Here's the that's a great way of saying that. Here's why I'm saying there's no reason not to do it now, is they've come out and said that this is a beta game. They are a beta environment. It's an early access environment. You should be expecting bugs. You should be expecting crappy situations. It's going to be a week-to-week deal. It's going to happen. If they're coming out and saying that and setting the expectation to that level, there is absolutely no reason as to why they shouldn't just come out and say, boom, anyone can stream the game. It's out there. It is what it is. Because they've already set the expectation to be a buggy experience. So let's just let it be a buggy experience for everyone.
I think it's really it's the right decision to be made for the future of the game, and I'm glad they're going down that line.
Oh yeah.
It is one of those. It remains to be seen if we're going to actually get the game to a point that it remains to be seen how long this is going to go, and are they going to just take this is, they're going to do the Blizzard rolling launch where it's it's beta, and then it's you have these funny moments where it's wait, Heroes of the Storm actually released, Heroes of the Storm was in beta for a year and a half.
I hope they don't do that.
Everyone had access beta for a year and a half, and well, I mean, we're already getting pretty far into this.
I think what they, and this is just me speaking, I think what they really need to do is go to that kind of open beta set after a while, release, the ability to stream the game to pretty much anybody and everybody, but still have it be closed beta. You have to get a key, or you have to buy a key. I'm fine if the only thing you can buy is keys, and you don't have to purchase in-game currency to unlock skins. It's all, any of that stuff. But what you can buy, it's a Founders Pack. That's going to happen. But if we're going to be in beta, we shouldn't call ourselves beta if you can buy stuff. Let's be honest here.
That's true.
If the only thing you can buy is access to the game, then I'm fine with calling ourselves an open beta. Or a closed beta, as the case may be.
Especially if it rolls into having access to the entire game.
Exactly.
It's silly if we end up doing something like The Division, where it's hey, you can pay to join the beta. It doesn't actually get you access to the game. You just get access to the beta. It's
that's bullshit.
That.
That's just exploitive. I mean, I could even understand you pay $20 to get into the beta, and then you get $20 off the game if you choose to buy it. I would be totally cool with that. It's okay, it's a paid demo.
Exactly. But, and I mean, even then, that's more indicative of other issues within the gaming industry. But if we did that with Gigantic, where it's you can pay to get into the game, anyone can stream it, anyone see it, but within the game, you don't have to pay to buy skins, you don't have to pay to buy this, that, or the third. All you can do to unlock stuff is in-game currency, and in-game currency flows freely and capably to everyone. Then I am perfectly fine with moving to that set. I think if they decide to say, hey, look, now you can purchase stuff in the game, it should be at a point where they are unleashing the game as not just an open beta, but a complete launch.
Well, unless things carry over, right?
Yeah, unless things carry over.
If they reach a point where, and they've said, about right now, they're things are going to get reset. You're going to have some point where all the stuff you bought in game is going to get reset during this beta. But if they get to a point where they're guys, anything everything you have now, all the levels you accumulate, characters you unlocked, all those are going to carry over into live, then I'm fine with them starting to sell things, because then it's just you could buy hey, and I mean, maybe make it nice. Give us a discount. Give us 25% off for buying things during beta.
Yeah.
Just because, maybe you're going to buy the skin and it'll be, broken 50% of the time. Or,
pretty much.
Somebody gets disabled.
Really what it would be, though, is at that point, and this is just, I guess, a petty, labels thing, but at that point, they really should call it an early access, rather than calling it an open beta. But that's a labels thing.
Yeah,
it's petty.
but
It's pointless.
and Gigantic isn't a MOBA. Whatever.
Yeah. Moving on to, I guess, the last couple of actual game features before we move along, before we kind of end the stream, is we were talking about the look into UI before, last week we're saying they're going to be doing some new stuff with the UI. We've already kind of seen some changes to that. The enemy team roster can now be seen through the main game window.
I
So-
love that.
As a caster, I am so happy that I don't have to wait because
I
I'll
don't
be,
have to hit
practice
tab to look at it.
Yeah, I'll be practice casting games, and it'll be like we'll literally just start watching it because we're like, surely the person that recorded this pressed tab at some point.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's like 2 minutes, and it's like, I guess not. I guess we just have no idea who the other team is.
Exactly.
It's like
so
it was the worst for casting.
being
It's not
able to
just
see that.
It's like being a player too, because you can.
now
see,
you don't have
like,
to press tab to quick check
yeah,
who's
'cause
alive and who's not.
The
Oh,
box
that too.
like grays out when they're dead, so when they're down, and then it lights back up when they spawn. So it's like, okay, they respawned, everyone back up. Like, let's get out of here, finish what you're doing.
Yeah. Now I just
best, and then just run.
Now I
Yep.
just want their respawn countdown to be next to it, so it's just like your team, their team, and just have the respawn countdown.
Yeah,
next to
the overall
so
team
you
respawn,
know
yeah.
when the respawn is coming.
That too.
That
And
would be, or even if it's just for your own team.
yeah, even if it's just
Because
your own team.
I've had times in the heat of a fight where it's like I know I'm one of maybe only 2 people left alive, and I'm like, do I keep if it's during Clash?
Is
on,
it a good idea to keep
Titanfall,
fighting
it's
here, or do I need to run
like,
away?
Do a tactical fight as I retreat, or do I just run
Which,
like hell?
realistically, let's be honest, that really only helps for solo queue or maybe duo queue environments. If you're queuing as a team and you're in comms together, they can tell you. But I agree with the
sure.
statement. It's like, yes, it should be part of the UI. It should be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for saying I dislike the philosophy that the game should be balanced around people playing it optimally.
Yeah.
The game should be balanced around the way that people act, like the majority of people play the game, which
Yeah.
we can almost definitively say will be solo queue.
Can we
Pretty much.
Or duo or triple queue, but it's not going to be solo queue.
can we backtrack for just a hot second?
Sure.
How hot
I
will
like
it be?
I like how this says you are now able to jump while using beam skills. I just imagined Vidasi just
yeah.
running and then jumping and healing, and now I want a battle bunny of Vidasi.
Wait, can you not do that?
Before
I
you
didn't
couldn't.
realize that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize jumping broke
It
Tetris.
interrupted it. You could still, it was because before you couldn't use it. You can't use any spells while you're jumping around unless you are Vodin. Vodin's like one of the only
Or
ones who
Charnok.
could do that. Yeah. And even then, it's not even all of Charnok's stuff because if you use his Q ability, he can't use his spells while jumping.
Well, there's a specific upgrade that lets you
do that. So when jumping
all
as Vidasi, you couldn't use your heal beam. You couldn't do it with Zenobia. Stuff like that. Now you can.
All I wanted to say was that I hope that there's a battle bunny Vidasi skin.
Please.
I feel
would
that might
love
be
it.
too silly for Gigantic.
There are.
But it'd be so funny.
It would be so great. There are also some audio updates, which I guess is just more quality of life stuff. New VO system for Guardians.
Match
Implemented.
confirmation sound, yay!
Yep,
Unless
match
you
confirmation
have the game
sound.
minimized, and then you
Yeah.
don't get it.
Yep.
Or if you're alt tabbed out of the game, nope, sorry, you don't get a notification.
That's
Which is honestly, that's the only time you care about getting notified is when you're alt tabbed out doing something else.
hashtag
there's-
features to come.
There should
I
be,
just love that they implemented a feature in a way that it only works when it's not the
I mean,
situation
necessary, yep.
that you
that's
want
when you,
it
that's
to.
when you add a feature of
If I needed a dollar, whenever I needed a dollar, I'd never have a dollar.
Background noise enabled. That's all. You
Yeah,
need.
right? Exactly.
else? We
Implemented
haven't talked
reverb
about
to
Beckett.
volumes. Oh, yeah, that's right. There's a new hero. Completely forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing.
We've got 3
Honestly,
minutes. It's fine.
I think part of it, well, and I'm almost okay with deferring talking about it because honestly, I haven't been able to play with her in any integrated way, and because of the fact that I played yesterday when you still had to unlock heroes, she wasn't unlocked, so I didn't get to play her.
I mean, talking a little bit about her at the very least, she's probably the first hero that kind of touches to a mobile shooter hero. The shooter hero that we had before was HK. And realistically, and Roland, but he wasn't the same sort of
Mozu.
style. Beckett feels a little bit more the type of hero that you would play if you played CSGO or if you played Overwatch. The hero you would
Amani.
play. Maybe a little bit more for CS:GO.
I mean, I say this coming from the fact that I like recommended a friend did who is a nationally ranked CS:GO player, and he was like picked up Amani and went like 25-0 in his first game because if you have the Twitch because Amani is really easy if you're used to playing with AWPs in CS:GO.
Yeah.
Like,
fair point.
If you're already
fair point.
used to being an entry sniper in CS:GO, like Amani is
But
super
I mean,
easy.
with the kit that we've been given here, it feels like it's a lot more tactical. It's just like
so maybe a little bit more towards tactical shooters
it's
like COD or Battlefield.
It's like moving
Yes.
around a lot and being able to shoot at the same time.
I mean,
whereas
she's
like
essentially
Yeah.
Pharah from Overwatch.
Pretty much.
Like she's almost exactly Pharah. Like she's Pharah from Overwatch with a worse jetpack.
yeah,
But to be fair, if it was a better jetpack, she'd be broken. Because it's already hard enough to hit her with the jetpack, and never mind the fact that any
Yeah.
AoE spells don't affect her while she's flying.
Also,
Yep.
yes. Speaking of characters
and she doesn't
that
get
have issues
interrupted.
with this,
The jetpack does not get interrupted if she gets hit with an interrupt too, which may actually be a bug. But I
Might
don't
be a
know.
bug, but never know. But honestly, I like this kit. You will be definitely seeing me later tonight streaming with the title Beckett Only. So there's that.
Bucket only.
Bucket only. Bucket.
Bucket
Yep.
only.
Yep. Bucket. Honestly, I love the feel of her. 100%. I think she is a welcome addition to the game.
yeah.
You know, the first person, in my opinion, who uses verticality in a new way.
Yeah.
Oh, in almost every other sense, verticality was used as a super jump, and that's it. Now
Yeah,
we
well,
have
'cause
movement while midair.
Everyone went up and then came immediately back down, which made it an escape.
Yeah.
Or just a faster movement. Like, Wu wasn't even, like, particularly escape. It was just like, I'm jumping around because that's how I navigate the map for some reason.
Yeah.
Which, I
Well,
mean, it
he's a
makes sense
frog.
'cause he's a
Yeah.
frog. Like, it makes thematic sense, but, like, it didn't actually add any real depth to his gameplay.
Yeah.
You know, it just was a weird and annoying way to get around the map.
Yep. Well, we could go a little bit more into it, but we are hitting the end of our cast here, and there's so much more to talk about. You know, changes to individual heroes, you know, how everything feels, and with a limited amount of time so far to actually play and experience the game, it's not 100% conducive to talk about it. But we will have plenty of time in the future to go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
So for right now, we're going to go into our little bit of announcements section. Next week, we're not going to be doing our show because we are going to be at PAX South, as Mr. Noirbot is showing off that T-shirt.
Happens.
Yeah, unless a miracle happens. But we are going to be at PAX South. We are going to be doing our meetup at PAX South on Saturday. Probably going to be after the convention. The exact where and when has yet to be decided. But we're going to be making our general week-to-week announcement of what we're doing this weekend on the Reddit. That's going to be on Thursday. We're going to say, hey, look, we're going to be here at this time. Feel free to kind of hang out and check us out. I will be tweeting out where I'm at and what I'm doing pretty much 90% of the time while I'm at PAX South. And that's going to be at Schmuglydorf. Perry, I don't know what you're going to be doing with your Twitter, but go ahead and feel free to follow at Noirbot on Twitter. Follow at Wolfman at Twitter. He's probably going to be doing the same thing. And also, for everything Go Gigantic Unleashed, feel free to follow us at Go Gigantic or GG_Unleashed at Twitter. Huh?
Is there an underscore?
Yeah, GG_Unleashed.
How did I never notice that?
Yep.
Yep, that's...
And of course, if you miss any of our shows or want to go back and rewatch any of our previous shows, for every show except for the 10th, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch all of our previous
What happened
shows.
to that one?
It never uploaded to YouTube.
Yeah, I don't think it.
Do we
ever
still
went to
have
that
it?
way.
I think
could
it's
we
a
go fix
highlight.
that?
I think it's a highlight. I might be able to try and upload it. We'll see. And of course,
try.
you can check those highlights at any time as well and watch our previous shows on Twitch. What else? Go ahead and if you have any tips or tricks or anything, suggestions, comments, concerns, feel free to go ahead and email those to, what is that? It's GG Bullrush or Bullrush at Go Gigantic Unleashed.
Yep, Bullrush at
Bullrush
GGUnleashed.com.
at GG.
Bullrush at GG Unleashed is our email, so go ahead and email us there if you have any ideas for future shows or any ideas that you think can help improve the cast. Is there anything else you guys would want to add?
I'm gonna be doing an interview style thing with one or two of the competitive players talking about Beckett, and I'm gonna do an article about it, post on the site. If not today, probably tomorrow or Monday.
Cool. So go ahead and
Nice.
check that out on
But
GG
yeah,
Unleashed.
I've got a whole plan, and
That
I know
is,
exactly who I'm gonna interview, and I'm gonna talk and gonna put everything together, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah, that's ggunleashed.com where that's going to go.
Speaking of things at ggunleashed.com, builder.ggunleashed.com.
Yes, the Hero Builder is gonna be
I
updated.
promise you, we are working our hardest to get the Hero Builder back updated. Tyrann Lord in chat has been doing some great work.
Hardcore worker.
Yeah, we're doing some great stuff, and we gonna try to get that up this weekend. We're having some issues with they messed with how some of the data is, and a lot of our tools that made this job easy for us broke, and we've been having to rebuild them.
Yep.
Yeah,
But the
and it's not
new
even
builder
that.
will be up
It's like-
soon.
It's like a lot of these.
A lot of the heroes got changes too.
Yeah, they got a lot of like just
Yeah.
random
That
shape
we're also
changes and swaps.
cough building a new builder from the ground up cough. So obviously it's going to take more time as well with that. But
Spoilers,
But yeah,
gosh.
we know Clashpoint left, so I assume Clashpoint hasn't updated their builder. So yeah, we're the source of all information for now,
Yep.
and we're gonna do our best.
all information.
maybe GG
Yeah.
Rock.
Yeah, I
in
don't know
some
if
point
GG
in the
Rock's
future.
updated yet.
I don't think they have. But that, I believe, is going to be it for us for this week, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming on out. I know it's a little bit of a slower show or a less popular show because, I mean, why would you watch guys talking about the game instead of watching people playing the game? Am I
Or
right?
just play the game itself.
Or just play the game itself, exactly. But I really appreciate all the people who did come on out and watch us. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.